Good.
Good.
All right, guys, welcome back to this show. Still unnamed. It's all right though. We're doing all right. Corby, Jake, Tyler, how you boys doing?
Great.
I'm good. Holding it down at the
Yeah,
studio tonight.
let's go.
Yeah, you are. Corby, you're out in Albuquerque, New Mexico, getting your Breaking Bad on, or what?
Yeah, man, I'm out here on my way back to Phoenix area, so just stopping in Albuquerque for the night, and that's it. Doing this show, and then gonna hit the streets of Albuquerque, see what I can get into.
You got one shirt in that suitcase, or what?
No,
Is that it?
this is my shirt. This is my shirt for
Because
every show.
The work
I'm
uniform.
wearing the shirt. This is the work uniform until Josh from Barbarian Apparel makes me a black one with the red letters. Then I'll wear that one. But this is my StaleMate issue uniform, and I'll be wearing it until I get a new one.
perfect. Yeah, that was my segue into the Barbarian Apparel shout out. So shout out to Barbarian Apparel. If you guys are needing some team gear, go use Barbarian Apparel. They're the best. I was just talking to a client this morning about a certain different apparel company that they use that I won't name, that they were having troubles with it. And I said, hey, quit using those guys, start using Barbarian Apparel. He said, hey, you never know, maybe we will. He met up with Josh and got some free shirts at the street league that he's at. Said he loved the shirts. So you guys can be in the same boat as that guy. I won't name names, but shout out to Barbarian Apparel. I will name them. And let's get into these picks. Tyler and I did our picks the other day on our show that you guys can go check out on the Patreon, $3.99. It's been growing. It's been great. But we're going to give our picks with Jake and Corby on this show as well. They're going to give their picks. Have been on fire lately with their picks. Super 32. They both did really well. And the people seem to be enjoying the show. And we had some people asking where they can find the show. Obviously, YouTube, as you guys can see, if you're watching this. And if you're not watching this, you might be listening in your car on Spotify and Apple. That's right. We are on audio only platforms like Spotify and Apple or however else you guys get your podcast. So go check that out. All right. It is the last week of October. Halloween is this weekend. That means starting next week, if I'm correct, if the Seton Hall Pirate is correct, the season starts next week. So we're going to give our official picks. That way we can't come along later in the season and say, I picked this guy. It's like either you did or you didn't. We're going to have it written down on wax. So let's start at 125. I think we can all agree this is probably the Spencer Lee show, but Corby, if there was somebody that you were going to pick on this, the top 10 guys, as you know, is there anybody on here who has the best shot at knocking off Spencer Lee, or are you picking somebody different than Spencer Lee?
No, it's Spencer Lee. If anybody knocks him off, I don't know that anybody will, but Pat Glory would. I mean, obviously everybody's pick if it were to happen. I don't see it happening. I still like Spencer Lee, but I mean that would be it for me. Now, one guy at the weight though, a newcomer at the weight, Purdue Matt Ramos, Illinois kid, was up at 25. He's going to be down or I'm sorry, was up at 33, going to be down at 25. I've got him in the blood round this year. Um, I don't know. I don't think much changes at 25. Um, and the top guys, I got Lee Glory, Courtney McKee, Barnett Heinzelman. Um, but my blood round guys, though, I got some guys. A lot of people probably wouldn't pick in the blood round. I got Medley and Shawver in the blood round as well. So I don't know, guys. I think having breakout years, had good summers. So what about you, Jake? You got anybody off the cuff that guys wouldn't be thinking about at 25?
I think to me, I have Ramos getting eighth place with Mastro Giovanni getting seventh. I'm pretty high on him. I know he's been kind of banged up / probably cutting a little bit of weight, but I think Mastro's a guy who can really do some damage in this weight. I mean, only got him getting seventh. I've got the same guys as you, Barnett, McKee, but I am pretty high on Killian Cardinale as well. I don't know if you mentioned him, but I know he's a guy who I think really highly of. He wrestles really hard. I've actually got him getting fourth. But a few guys in those round of 12, I really like Malik Heinzelman. I know he's a guy who hasn't All-American yet, but he's a guy who can always have tough matches. And then a guy that I think shock some people last year that I'm high on, but I have him in the blood round here is D'Agostino out of Northwestern. I think he's a guy who can really, push for an All-American finish again. But I don't know. He's had some losses that kind of make my, me scratch my head where maybe he's around a 12 guy instead of a top 8 guy. A guy I'm excited for, like I think everyone out of the Penn State room, is Robbie Howard, Jersey guy who's extremely talented, kind of been banged up, maybe a little undersized, things like that. So he's a guy I've gotten around to 16, but I could easily see him beating a Mastro or Ramos, getting the top 8.
Yeah, I think whoever comes out of that Peterson, Shawver battle there ends up being in a good spot. Zach, where you got the Cyclones sitting here at 25?
We could turn this into the Cyclone Hour if you want to, but Kaisen Terrakina, I think it'd be great if he could get on the podium this year. I don't know if it's exactly going to happen or not. He's been to the big dance twice now, I believe. He made it as a true freshman, which is impressive. He seems to always kind of be banged up, towards the end of the year. At least he was that freshman year. But I think it'd be great if he can get on the podium. But I don't know. 25 is a tough weight. After the champion, I think you got a bunch of guys that could be. Robbie Howard being the 15 seed or being the ranked 15th on the internet. It's like someone like him coming off of an injury. Noto's good. Certain. I don't know. I think Kaisen Terrakina is as good as those guys, but until he proves it, he's beaten Certain before, I believe, right? Last year. I think they're like 1-1, something like that. Don't know off the top of my head.
He beat him in the duel, I believe.
Yeah. So, he's right there with some of those guys that are podium type guys, but I don't think I'm gonna give me some time for my homer picks. But right now, it's a Spencer Lee show at 25. Do you think that we'll see Spencer Lee before January 1st?
My gut says no, and if you did, maybe at their own. Not their own, because it's not theirs, but what are they calling it? The Soldier Salute there at Coralville. That's at home, in between maybe Christmas and the New Year time. So if he was to be rolled out, maybe then would be my guess. I don't know. I mean, we saw Sam Stoll pushing the coaches aside a few years ago to get out in that Cyclone duel. Remember that? So
oh yeah,
who knows? We may see him December 4th, but I highly doubt it.
One interesting thing about the Iowa schedule is it's pretty loaded on the back half, and so I'm kind of in the boat that he's not going to wrestle until the second semester, but at the same time, are they going to throw him, straight to the gauntlet right away? And obviously, if they're going to hold him off, he's not 100% healthy, or maybe they're afraid of him, getting dinged up when it really matters. So I feel like maybe they'll sprinkle him in there the first few duels, maybe some of those, like the Army duel, the Iowa State duel. I think those are, pretty easy wins for Spencer Lee. And I don't know. I would like to see him wrestle a full schedule, but I just don't think at this point in his career he's going to.
I don't think we've ever seen that for him.
Freshman year? No,
he had injuries then too.
Up too, yeah. I don't think we've seen him a full year yet.
Interesting.
Yeah,
all right.
There's no sense in it. I mean, why would you? I mean, at this point in his career, I don't think there's a lot, and to be honest with you, on the other side, we're not going to see Glory a lot either. You're not going to see Pat Glory wrestle a full schedule either. I mean, he's coming down kind of on a vision quest, right? And he's just going to get his weigh-ins. I don't think you'll see him wrestle a full schedule either this year. It's kind of, guys are kind of, gaming for March, and, we'll see the best two guys in March ready to go.
Let's move on to 133 then. We all knew we were going to pick Spencer Lee, so there's not a whole lot to say there, but 33 gets a little bit more interesting. If you're looking at the top 3 guys, they're both all highly decorated individuals there. We got Roman Bravo Young, the 2-time defending champion, Dayton Fix, 2-time runner-up, world silver medalist Vito Arujau. I mean, coming up from 125, obviously a stud, Michael McGee, Lucas Bird, Dylan Ragusin. So it goes on. The list goes on at this weight. We got a couple guys changing weights. Sam Latona, ranked 14th on Intermat. Taylor Lamont going back up to 133, which is interesting. So I know that he had kind of a rough go at it the first time he went up, but At this weight, I already gave out my pick on the Patreon show. I picked RBY. I gotta assume you guys are doing the same, no?
Yeah, I've got RBY. I don't, I want to pick Fix. I've picked him the last 2 years, probably like everybody else in the country, especially coming off a world silver medal. But RBY just keeps getting it done, and he's shown that I think he's just a little bit better at this point, or has some more ways to score. So I don't see RBY losing to Fix. I don't know about you, Corby.
No, until somebody beats RBY, I'm going RBY. I think he's, you know, this summer I've noticed he's out biking long bike rides, and it just seems like he's always adding things to his game, and so yeah, I go RBY. Um, I got Mendez All American. He's in the wrestle off. I, he's looks like he's probably going to be the guy at 33 for them. And I've got him. I've got him at eighth. I've got him losing to Ragusin, which we'll see. It's early. We haven't seen him yet. Um, picking a true, picking a freshman to All American, tough call, but I like where he's at. I think throughout the year he'll develop, getting his hands on these guys in the Big Ten, and come March, I mean, heck, he could. Right now, I'm saying eight because I haven't seen him yet, right? But I mean, by the end of the year, I could be saying he's up higher than that. But and then I've got Chance Rich from Bakersfield, a guy. He's athletic. He shows flashes. I got him. I got him blood rounding. A lot of people probably are going to look at that one and be like, Chance Rich. But yeah, I think Chance Rich. I think he has a good year. I think he gets it done and gets into the blood round in March. Anybody off the radar you guys see there at 33?
You know, a guy that I really like is Michael Kolioko out of Penn. I think he's a guy who, came out of high school with some really, I think he had a lot of upside. He's had some pretty good freestyle wins. I know he beat DeSanto a few years ago at maybe U23 trials, something like that. But he's a guy who I have actually getting eighth. I'm with you on Mendez. I think he's a guy who's around a 12. Rayvon Foley, always extremely tough out of Michigan State. I've got him at around a 12 guy. And then, I'm really interested in the Teskey Shriver wrestle off. I think both are guys who, Teskey coming up from 25, Shriver coming off of I know he didn't end up redshirting last year, but he's a guy who, won a couple Fargo titles. So I think both are guys who are probably around a 12, around a 16. But, how Iowa does things with their lightweights. They always get guys ready to rock and roll. So those are guys who could maybe sneak on the podium. I've got them round of 12, round of 16. I'm not sure who's going to win that match, to be honest. I think everyone thinks Teskey, but man, Shriver's tough. That's just really, really intriguing to me. So, I mean, as an Iowa guy, that's a match I think everyone wants to watch.
All right. Anything else to add at that weight? I mean, I kind of boring start there of all of us choosing the same guy, but I imagine at 41 we're gonna have some different answers. So, you ready to move on?
Let's do it.
Go ahead for one.
All right, 41. This is a weight that I think there's a lot of good guys. So I'm not gonna say that it's a weak weight class because it's not a weak weight class. But what it is it's pretty spread out across the board, right? Cole Matthews, ranked number 1. Real Woods, ranked number 2. Jake Bergelin, number 3. CJ Composto from Penn, ranked number 4. Andrew Alirez, ranked number 5. Clay Carlson, All-American from South Dakota State, ranked number 6. Alan Hart, number 7. Dylan D'Amelio, number 8. I mean, right there is 8 guys that I think could all beat each other, no?
And then Carter Young at 13th. It's pretty stacked.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'll throw Sammy Alvarez in there, coming up in weight. Weight won't be an issue. I mean, I think he can wrestle with a lot of these guys. I think Alvarez is one too you got to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. Jesse Vasquez, Arizona State, number 18. Bo Bartlett, 16. I mean, look at this. But at 41, we have not named who will be the champion yet. So we haven't even named this kid as somebody that's ranked. You know what I mean? Because I don't even think that they have him ranked yet. But I'll go ahead and say it. I think that true freshman from Michigan, living in Ames, Casey Swiderski could be a true freshman champion at Iowa State this year. Tell me why I'm wrong, boys. Go ahead. Jake, I'll let you have the floor. I'm picking Casey Swiderski here if you guys didn't know.
Well, I actually don't necessarily disagree with you. I've actually got him getting third in this weight. I'm actually really, really high on Swiderski. I know that I've heard great things. I went to an Iowa State banquet last week, and maybe that's clouding my judgment here a little bit, but heard great things about him. I know he's extremely gifted. I don't know. I'm super high on him. I've got him getting third. I don't think he's quite on the same level as Real Woods, which I know Real Woods just lost to Cole Matthews last year, but that's who I'm picking, getting first. And a little bit of, I don't think it's a crazy pick. I got Andrew Alira's getting second place here. So I think he's finally going to make a breakthrough. I know he's yet to All-American, but he's a guy who extremely gifted, super talented. I know he is a freestyle guy, but at the same time, I know he took this summer, focus on folk style, hopefully top bottom. So I think he's a guy who's really going to break through. But yeah, Real Woods, Alirez, Swiderski, Cole Matthews. Outside of that, you've got a ton of guys who are gifted. I think the top four is probably pretty much set to me. Swiderski might be a little crazy, but I think the top four are pretty set to me. Then you got guys like Carlson, Bartlett, D'Amelio, Carter Young, McNeil, Jack. I mean, tons of guys. I'm sure Corby will go into some of those guys, but I'm super high on Swiderski. Also super high on Alirez, though. Corby, what you got?
I like you. I had a Woods Alirez final. I like Woods. I got Swiderski fifth actually in this bracket for a true freshman, which is, I mean, if you look at it for a true freshman, that's pretty impressive. I got him ahead of guys like I got Bartlett too. I like Bartlett Hart. I like Alvarez to AA this year. And then I like guys like you mentioned. I like Carter Young filling into the weight to be a blood round guy. I like the Canadian. I like Lachlan McNeil. This kid's really good at UNC. He's talented. He's got his hand on a lot of senior level guys. This kid's going to be good. And then I got two guys at AA last year in Composto and Berglund in the blood round. So 41's one of those weights that to me it's any one of these guys, right? I mean, if you told me that Clay Carlson got hot at the national tournament and made the finals, would that shock you? I mean,
not at all.
Right? So,
No.
I'm pretty sure on our show I picked Alirez for that. It was either in the finals or to win, but I'm pretty sure I picked him to win. So we're all high on Alirez in this one.
I'm Team Alirez. I've been Team Alirez since day one. But I think for Alirez, it just matters if he's going to be healthy, and if he shows up at the NCAA tournament, which I think he does this year. I'm high on Alirez as well. I'll go Swiderski, Alirez in the finals, and then Real Woods on the other side, third place.
So I got.
Why not?
I imagine everybody's got Yanni probably in the final, right? Who does everybody have wrestling Yanni, right? You got. I mean, in my opinion, you got three choices, right? You've got Lovett, Sasso, Gomez. Who's everybody got in the final wrestling Yanni?
Zach, who you got?
I'm going to go Sammy Sasso. I think, Austin Gomez is really freaking good, but, I can't go Cyclone or former Cyclone every single pick here. So I don't know. I think Sammy Sasso is good enough to be a champion, and I think that he won't be a champion at this weight class. I'm also picking Yanni, but what's second best? Second place. So I got Sasso.
Tyler?
How about you?
I'm pretty sure I went with I don't know why, but on our show I went with the repeat of the finals last year. I think I was just being lazy because I don't feel the same about that at all anymore. I think I would go with what they have now, Yanni and Gomez.
Yeah, I'm with Zach. I think Sasso is the next best guy at this weight. I kind of thought it last year, even though, I know he was the 4 seed, so he ended up on the opposite side of those guys. But I think Sasso gets it done this year. I'm actually pretty high on Ohio State this year, just going through my picks, especially on the back half of their lineup. So I'm pretty high on them. I think they're due for a good year. It's been a few years since they've maybe overachieved. So I think this is a very important year, especially with a really big class coming in as far as recruiting. So I got Sasso getting second. I got Gomez getting third, and I've got him beating Lovett in a crazy match. Another guy that I'm sure everyone's high on is Shane Van Ness. I've got him getting fifth. I think his motor, I think his ability to get to legs, I think over time he's going to take a few losses early, but he's going to turn it on just like every Penn State guy does at the end of the year. Got him getting fifth. And then I'm going to show a little Iowa bias since Zach's strictly Cyclones here. I got Murin finally getting on the podium. I think he's going to be due. I think it's his year to do it. I think he's a guy who obviously been knocking at the door for a while. So I've got him getting eighth. You know, maybe that's a little low, maybe high. I don't know. I think he's just a guy who probably, maybe deserves to be on the podium. I think he's going to finally get it done. What about you, Corby?
I put Gomez in the final. I think Gomez, everybody's watched Gomez when the lights are on. I've been watching Gomez with the lights on since he was a little kid back in Illinois. And I mean, give me Gomez and Martz with the lights on to face Yanni in the final. I got Mirren up at fifth. I think so many people are forgetting about Brock Mahler, right? Brock Mahler wasn't around last year. People are forgetting about Brock Mahler. He'll be in the mix.
I was kind of surprised to see Mahler at 49. I know he wrestled at some opens last year at 57. I know they have Jaquez, however you want to say it, 57 for Missouri, but I kind of was thinking he was going to go 57. So it's interesting to see him back down to 49. He's been around. He's been a guy that's been around for a minute, though. He's been a starter from the jump.
100%, and he's a grinder. He'll definitely be in there. I as well got Milner still on the podium. I think G Feller is going to be a blood round guy this year. He comes back. People are like, man, G's back. Well, I mean, he was getting the better of Vonovich last year in the room. So we'll see what happens there. I got Abbas as well in the blood round, someone that I think could get up there in AA. But 49 is tough. There's a lot of veterans at 49. It's a crafty weight. Somebody too that looks pretty good who's put on some size in the offseason is Parco, Arizona State. He looks like a different guy, physically. So we'll see how that works out for him. And that takes us to back up. I guess we've all been through 49 to 57. And
can we talk about a couple other guys at 49?
Yeah,
former teammates Dom Demas and Willie McDougald. I got it wrong last year, and his high school coach called me out in Detroit last year because I kept mispronouncing his name. But I think both those guys are guys that could be All Americans.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Dom Demas at 13. Yeah,
he All American at 41. Am I correct in saying that? Dom Demas?
That would have been a few years ago.
Yeah,
but
I think he went on a run and got fourth, I believe.
Yes, exactly. He was like a top 5 guy. I believe he did get fourth. He went on a run, and then he had a lot of expectation after that, and then he didn't want to cut down, right? So now he's out there. It'll be interesting if they meet in the blood round, right? Let's say they meet in the blood round. Who's going to AA? That'd be really interesting.
That would be really interesting. I think Dom is exciting to watch, and he's going to fit in right with guys like Austin Gomez and Ridge Lovett. It's going to be fireworks again at 49.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we jump up at 57, and I got a pick here. I think that a lot of people probably won't have. I don't know where they've got him ranked right now. I would imagine if I probably think he's probably ranked around 5 or 6, maybe. I don't know. But he's a former national champion, and I'm going with Austin O'Connor. I think Austin O'Connor wins 57 this year. I got him in the finals against Monday. Monday's going to wrestle Carr for the Monday Carr rivalry, and then you're going to see Monday go back down to 57, and I think that's your final this year. I think Brayton Lee's probably ranked number 1 right now. I got him, Brayton Lee and Teamer battling for 3rd and 4th, and then this weight's going to be fireworks. Andonian and Scott. You got Rob, and then you've got Humphreys, this kid out of Lehigh, that probably the best in the country with the legs, power half. He isolates it really well. So that's an interesting weight to me. Um, and then, like you said, Sheets is coming back too, right? And it just people are wondering what weight Sheets is going to go. Sheets is going to go 57. So it'll be interesting. I think he looks at 65 thinking, hey, maybe I can do something here at 57. 65 is loaded, so he's going to come back. He'll be at 57. I got Jake Keating, Virginia, 57 as well in the blood round, and Jarrett JQ's Missouri. So one guy, I got Frantic as well in the blood round. So I mean, 57 to me this year is a tough weight. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to shake out. What do you see there, Jake?
You know, they say great minds think alike. I mean, I think we're pretty much on the same page with this weight. I've got O'Connor over Monday in the finals, and I've got Brayton Lee over Teamer for third, and I've got Ed Scott, Peyton Robb, fifth, sixth. A guy I think that you didn't mention is Will Luan. I know his season maybe didn't compare to where he finished the last year as far as making his way on the podium. But I've got him actually beating Andonian for seventh, and Andonian I think at 57. I think he's gonna be more of a boom or bust guy. Maybe that's just I don't know. Maybe that's just how I view it. And, I think a lot of people like his style, but at the same time that he's a guy who, don't get me wrong. If he get third again, I wouldn't be shocked, but I've got him getting eighth here. I just think the weight's really tough. There's a lot of guys that can beat him. Looking at last show, I've got Levi Haynes and Patty Gallagher actually in the blood round. Those are two guys that we mentioned. I think they're going to have a really good year. And then I got Humphreys in the blood round too. Keating, round of 16. Doug Zapp's another guy. I'm maybe a little biased on Penn. I listened to a couple podcasts about some Penn guys when I was doing this. But Doug Zapp's a guy who I think can do some damage in round of 16 there. So it's a super tough weight. But I do feel good about O'Connor. I think people are going to sleep on him a little bit too much just based on his end of his last season there. But he was all banged up. So I think he's going to kind of redeem himself. Same with Brayton Lee. I think he's going to come back and get third place, just tear it up next year.
I'm actually going different than both of you boys. I got Monday and Lee. I originally picked Brayton Lee, but that was before Monday and made the big announcement, which incredible promo, by the way, by Princeton announcing he's going down to 57. But all signs pointed that he was going 65. He's even in the All-Star duel against David Carr at 65. I know we were excited about the Carr Monday rematch from way back in the day or whatever, but I think it's going to be Brayton Lee and Monday, and I'm going Monday. I think he gets it done. I think he was one danger rule away from winning last year. It was cool to see. It was cool to see blanking on Northwestern. Help me out, Deacon. Ryan Deacon. It was cool to see Ryan Deacon win it, but I think Monday gets it done. I think it'll be an incredible moment. Tulsa, they're from Texas, right? Were they born? I think they were born in Tulsa, weren't they?
I don't know.
The Mondays.
He said in the video, Texas is where he's from. I don't know how. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I know when they were younger, they were down in Texas for sure. He was down there coaching with Kendall at Bishop
I want to say he was born in Tulsa, but maybe I'm getting that wrong. Either way, he's from the South. Tulsa, Box Center. Monday's a champion. Print it right now, I think. That's my opinion.
Did listening to that or watching that video, did you guys think that Quincy Monday looked like he weighed 195 pounds in that video of the stepping on the scale? I'm shocked he can make 57 again. But I'm happy he can. That's the weight he can win. Not that he can't do well at 165, but he can win 157.
You're saying he didn't make scratch in that video, like it said?
You think that's cap?
I don't think so.
Stop the cap. Yeah, well, I tell you what, is that just a weight class where guys look hollow or what? I mean, look at Deacon, right? Everybody always said how big he was, how big he was, how big he was. And then off season comes and he's wrestling 70 kilo, 154, right? So, I mean, Monday, definitely big. It's going to be interesting. my opinion, Monday is going to look bigger than Carr in the match and for the All Star match. I think Monday will look bigger than Carr,
Hmm.
and then you'll see Monday come back down. But I think you're going to see Carr be a little undersized this year at 65. Not that he's not can't wrestle the weight. I just think a little undersized, challenging himself, trying to build into the 74 kilos. I think you're going to see him in some matches and be like, wow, it's going to look like two different size guys.
I've
What do you
I've
think, Zach? Did
never
you put on some size, Zach, that I don't know about?
yeah.
Yeah, he's put on some size. I've seen some videos and stuff, and been behind the scenes a little bit. He's definitely put on a lot of strength. But yeah, I mean, like workout videos and actual strength are two different things, right? But I don't know. I saw a video of him with those big like it wasn't a medicine ball, but it was something like that. And we got a great strength and conditioning coach, Ben Durbin.
Eh,
I think a lot of our guys are getting a lot of bigger. If you've seen, he showed me some pictures of Carr like last year, or the year before, something like that, and then what he's at now. And he kind of doesn't look as big as he is, but he's a little bigger than you would think. I think.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get. I by saying that, I don't mean I don't want it to come off there. I'm not saying he's going to get overpowered. It's just sometimes, Matt, you go out there and it looks like guys are just two different sizes sometimes, right? Or two different weight classes. It's like, wow, that guy looks a lot bigger than the other guy. I think that could happen a few times to him. Now, I don't think he gets horsed around by any means. I think he's, too slick, moves too well, and understands, the game of pressure to get pushed around.
Well, that's we're gonna do the rest of the weights 165 through 285 next week. Hopefully we can get it done earlier in the earlier part of the week. That way we can watch wrestling. What is going on? Is it Citadel? Who's dueling next week, Corby?
Yeah, Citadel is going to, I believe, start it off, and then we're gonna get then we're get so and then next week too we could talk. We're gonna get Michigan State Open then, the following week, which is, I mean, depending on who sends all their starters on I think it's the 6th maybe. Depending on who sends all their starters, that could be a really really good open. A lot of teams are slated to send their guys. It'll be interesting on them opens that are fresh soft divisions how well attended they are for some of these smaller programs. Since now with they can wrestle the 5, right? And in the first semester, there's no one attached. So if I'm going to send guys to an open now my budget at a smaller program is having to pay for those guys, right? So now we may see less guys going to those opens because the smaller programs don't have the budgets. So it'll be interesting to see who travels to these opens and who doesn't.
I also want to talk a little bit about wrestle-offs. There's always some interesting. I mean, I know when wrestle-offs come around, we're always just like really excited for wrestling, so we kind of read into things that maybe it's not as big of a deal. But I've only seen a handful of teams really even talk about the wrestle-offs or even post brackets and whatnot. Obviously, I was pretty deep in the Discord talking about the Iowa State wrestle-offs, and there's some interesting things there. I think we can all admit that Manny Rojas and MJ Gaetan, that match was something that a lot of people were watching. MJ Gaetan beat Manny Rojas, which to me as an Iowa State fan, I was a little surprised by that, but excited about it as well. But I know that I believe Jake sent to the group chat about Jesse Mendez being in there at 133, true freshman. What do you guys think about him going in as a true freshman? Was there anything else at the Ohio State wrestle-offs that you guys saw was interesting? Or anybody else for that matter? Any other wrestle-off for that matter that you guys thought was kind of interesting?
I think, sticking with Ohio State, I think seeing Feldman in the wrestle-off bracket is, interesting. I don't think they'll use him unless they really have to. I mean, maybe he goes out and just kills Orndorff. I wouldn't predict that, but that would be someone I think is interesting guy to follow, especially at that wrestle-off at 285. And then I didn't see Buzakis in the wrestle-off bracket, so that kind of surprised me. I know I sent it to you guys, but that must mean Mendez is the guy moving forward, and they'll see how he does. I think some of these early wrestle-offs aren't going to mean much until you get into dual season and you allow those guys to kind of get one or two of those 5 matches and see if they can actually compete outside of the room. But I know Gatan beating Rojas surprised me. I don't think it means much right now. I think they're going to follow the same game plan as far as, getting them some tougher matches against like NCAA type of opponents. And then we'll kind of, reevaluate and see where we move on from there. But I mean, those are the couple wrestle off things that, surprised me a little bit. Corby's probably got a few more for me, but I'll let him go.
Yeah, the Gatan thing, I didn't put him on our freshman list last week either because that was guys I anticipated that we could see this year. And to me, I mean, I know he wrestled 74, but I see MJ as a 65 pounder, and I don't see him get going this year because of Carr. So I didn't put him on there. I think I had Manny on the list because I think, down the road, when he gets some matches under his belt and stuff, I think in January you could see him, make a push. He's a kid that's always, made jumps in rooms. So I think you could see him, make a jump towards the end. And, MJ is obviously on my radar. I just didn't think that, he'd be a starter this year. I think he's a little small, but him going up to 74 and beating Manning like he did actually did shock me. So, good for him. I think what we're going to see too in the future is, and we already do it a lot of programs, right? They just do it in the room. They call them indicator matches. They figure it out in the room. But I think in the future too, we'll see less and less of these wrestle offs, especially with the 5 rule. I mean, what matters is what you do against your common opponents, right? So, I mean, heck, let's say we're at an open, right? And Jake wrestles Zach, right? At an open. Well, now we duel, and now guess what? Well, now, my backup already wrestled him. Now my starter gets to wrestle him, and now I get to see. Or, let's say my starter got him at Midlands, and now when the duel comes down, we're battling down the stretch to who's going to be the guy, and we put the other guy out there now so we can get a common opponent, right? I think early on you could see some of that with the young guys, and young guys are going to get tested, right? They're going to get thrown out there. This is great for coaches, right? You can throw a kid out to the wolves in a big environment, and if you think he might be ready, and you're going to be able to see if he is, if he can handle the pressure right away, and it's going to be interesting. I love it. I wish this rule would go to all red shirts, not just freshmen. Anybody that's in a red shirt. I hopefully in the future we see that, so we get less and less forfeits and duels. So I'm excited, man. Wrestle off season's coming. I'm not. I know tomorrow we got the Ohio State. I think the Big Ten's going to have it. I'll watch it, but it doesn't really mean a whole lot to me besides that you get to get your eyes on some wrestling. We're all itching to watch some D1 wrestling. So tomorrow night we'll get or actually when you release this, it'll be tonight because you'll probably put this out on Thursday. So Thursday night we're gonna get Ohio State wrestle offs, and we got. I mean, 25 is interesting, right? Andre Gonzalez is back down at 25, right? He's listed on the roster 25/33. He's back down at 25. We're going to see him, battle Malik, right? Obviously, he thinks that he can win that spot. So that'll be very interesting. Yeah, heavyweight Feldman, right? I'm interested to see. He's going to be really undersized. But do they use him, in some duels against some tough guys this year? I think for sure you see him do that. I think Iowa will do that. I think Penn State. I think all the big programs will do that with some of their stud freshmen, right? Throw them out there, get them in the environment, and might as well. If you don't, you're losing out on 5 matches.
Let's move right along to U23s. We're gonna wrap this show up. So if you guys don't like freestyle, you can tune out. If you want to listen to a little bit of freestyle talk, listen to these great minds talk about it. We're gonna get into the U23s just a little bit, real brief. We're just gonna keep it pretty simple here. I'm looking at the list here, Greco. I'm looking at a lot of eliminateds and DNPs. 7th place Peyton Omanya, which good for him. He's fun to watch. Women's Meadow Lord doing her thing. That's her 3rd gold medal this summer. So that's great. And then the senior men's, U23 men, sorry. We didn't have any gold medals, but we had some silvers, some fifths, some bronze. So, anything surprising here with you guys? All weights, all divisions. What do you guys think?
Just
You know,
Elor. I mean,
yeah,
doing her
Elor.
thing.
Yeah, she's a hammer. I think I know she's at a non-Olympic weight, I believe. So it will be interesting to see if she moves up or down as we kind of move closer to the Olympics. I think our men's freestyle team did about what I expected, and honestly, two guys who I thought were going to win it didn't. And Carr and Vito, but that's how things go sometimes on the international scene. I think overall pretty solid tournament from everybody, but nothing too crazy to me. I don't know how you feel, Corby.
I think Cardenas looked really good. Got in the silver. I think he looked pretty good for not having a lot of international experience. He looked poised in his matches. So that to me, going in, did I think, looking at that bracket that he was gonna be a silver medalist? Nah, I didn't. So that impressed me. Good job by those guys, staff. I know Gwizdowski works with him quite a bit, so shout out to Gwizdowski. Good job. And everybody up there, Gray and staff. That was that kid's building. I mean, got to remember, a lot of people love Ben Darmstadt, and he's a really good kid and was talented. But last year, Cardenas was a guy over Darmstadt, and then he goes over there and gets a silver, and that's a guy to look out for. When we next show we go into 97, it'll be interesting. And hey, what about Buchanan? What's going on with that?
I didn't hear anything. What are you talking about?
Yeah, what is going on here?
Well, he's not going to wrestle in the All-Star match, and there's some. I don't know. I'm hearing that he may not wrestle this year. I don't know what's going on. There's been some rumors floating around, so I don't know what's going on. But supposedly he's pulling out of the All-Star match, so I don't know.
Talk about a freaking cliffhanger there, bud. I mean, we're about to end the
Have to-
show,
have
and
to
then you're gonna. What are you
97's
doing?
next week.
Is that the cliffhanger?
I really don't. No, I'm just saying he's pulling out of the All-Star, and nobody really. I mean, it hasn't really come out why yet, and supposedly he may not compete this season. I don't know. I'm trying to, we'll have to go dig up some information on that and see what's going on.
Yeah, he was my pick
All
in the
right.
finals, so we'll have to see by the time we make picks next week.
Yeah.
Oh man, we on Cuba time when it comes to 97. But all right, we will end this show. I'm reading off the Seton Hall Pirate. He sends out this awesome email that we get every week, letting us know what's coming up on the agenda for wrestling. So next week we got Queens at the Citadel. We got Ouachita Baptist at Little Rock. How do you say that, Corby?
What's that? Ochiwata Baptist. Ochiwata.
There you go. I don't know, dude. It could be anything at this point. Northern Colorado versus Fort Hays State in Denver. Tyler's old neck of the woods. App State versus NC State. That's a good one. Jonathan Milner, I'm sure he's going to have. Who's 49? Ryan Jack, maybe? Is it Ryan Jack at 49 for NC State?
This year, at NC State 49, I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to have. That's going to be up in the air. A battle for the spot there at 49 for those guys, I would assume.
But that'll be either way. It's going to be probably the best duel of the week. Indiana at SIU Edwardsville and Southern Virginia at VMI. And then Saturday, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So, man, it is freaking here, boys. I can't believe it.
Let's go.
I'm ready.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. Hit subscribe, and we will see you guys next week to recap 165 through heavyweight, and then maybe we'll break down some of the action that's coming up for the weekend. Does that sound good?
Let's do it.
To me.
It's cool.
All right. Thank you guys for watching.